did these braids and I don't know how I feel about it. Whatever. Okay, so obviously this is my monthly wrap up, using the word monthly very lightly this time, because if you didn't notice, I did not upload a monthly wrap up for June. So this is like a June-July mashup, because I read one book in June, I'm pretty sure. I started books and I didn't finish them, but I read one book. And I can tell you what book that is. Tomorrow and Tomorrow and Tomorrow by Gabrielle Zevin. So good. But then, unfortunately, I dove real hard into a reading slump. So, let's get into it. So, I don't know if you guys can hear it, but it's raining. I'm so ready for fall weather. Okay, let's get into how I actually felt about the books. So obviously, like I said, the only book that I finished in June was Tomorrow and Tomorrow and Tomorrow. I loved this book so much. I gave it 5 stars. I usually am not the biggest literary fiction person, but this book is popular for a reason. It's just really good writing. And even if you don't like literary fiction, genuinely just pick it up, because I don't know, I just feel like it's good writing when the author makes you care about things you usually don't care about. And this did that. I loved this book. The overview is basically, it's about, I mean, everyone says it's about 2 video game developers, but honestly it's about them, and it's about their friend and this like partnership that they go on with their business. And it's just, it's so interesting and creative, and I love that. And I genuinely just don't think that I can explain this in a way that sounds as pleasant as it really was to read this book. I just, honestly, kind of comfort read. So I think I want to go on to my July reads, and then I'll talk about the books that I DNF'd. So in July, I went to a cabin in South Carolina, and it was so nice. Exactly what I needed at the time, to just be like in the woods. I don't know. So I decided to read thrillers, which I did for a video. You can see, and in the description, I'll link it. This did not go to plan as much as I wish it would have. This is when I realized that I was really in a reading slump, because obviously I didn't read very much in June. And so I was like, maybe I'm just distracted. But for July, I read Rock, Paper, Scissors. So this one, at the time I was reading it, I was very disappointed, and I still gave it 3 stars. And I stand by that. In hindsight, I enjoyed it a lot more than I thought that I did. And also, I think it was just a bad time for me to read it. I wasn't really gonna like anything that I read at this point. So don't let that take away from if you want to read this book. Genuinely, honestly looking back, the twist got me. The twist really got me. I was not expecting that, even though it was planted and foreshadowed and all the things. So I think that it did a good job with that. But in that video, I talked about how even when I found out, I was just kind of like, oh. But I think that was also me being a difficult reader. Yeah. So I gave that one 3 stars. Then I hopped on Kindle Unlimited and I said, give me another one. Give me a good spooky thriller, Ada Lake. And My Heart is a Chainsaw came up. Great. It's been on my past probably 2 fall TBRs. I hated it. I hated it so much. I hated the trope that was in it. Okay, so My Heart is a Chainsaw. How do I explain this? It's this girl and she's obsessed with slasher movies. Everything else kind of just sucks. And she doesn't really have any friends. Basically, she convinces herself that this new girl that comes to her school is the final girl for some type of slasher level event that's about to happen in her town. And she's the daughter of some super rich guy that's kind of heading the building of this new neighborhood in I think it used to be a national park across the other side of the lake that she lives on. People are not happy about this. And it sounds great. It sounds very intriguing. I did not like it. And not just did I hate the reading experience, because I was gonna hate the reading experience of anything anyways. I also hated the writing the entire time. The way this author structures their sentences. I truly wish on nobody to have to experience that was kind of mean. Read it if you want, but like, it just didn't get through to me, is what I'm trying to say. So I gave this one 1 star. Then I hopped back on Kindle Unlimited and I said, give me another spooky book at the lake, but this time with really good reviews. So I picked Stillhouse Lake. It's the first in a really long series. Met the requirements. Pretty interesting premise, which was basically this woman and her kids are on the run because everyone thinks she's some type of accomplice to her husband, which we find out at the beginning of the book is a serial killer, like at their house in the garage. I mean, it's like a separate garage, but she didn't know, and people can't seem to grasp that. And so she continually has to make fake names and pick new places for her and her kids to live. The end of it, the reveal of like how she was found, pretty dumb. Like, not that it was dumb, like the writing was dumb, because that's not the case. It's like, why would she think that that would work? Like, of course, this is the only person that knew all of that information. And like the way that she met them, it was dumb to trust them in the first place. I don't know. I liked it more than My Heart is a Chainsaw, but not enough to read the sequel. So I rated that one a 2 star. By that point, I was like, I give up. I give up on the thriller thing. Let me just read something that I know I'll probably like in some capacity. So I read People We Meet on Vacation by Emily Henry. So I knew going into this that this is typically people's least favorite of her books, but I was thinking I'm still gonna like it because I still like her writing. So even if it's not my favorite, I'm still probably gonna like it. Which I did. I liked the reading experience. It didn't leave me with like a bad taste in my mouth or anything, but I could not connect to these characters at all, and their relationship I couldn't connect to at all. It felt not realistic. This one follows a woman who works for a travel magazine, and she travels around the world and she writes articles and stuff like that. Love that. Dream job, genuinely. I feel like the women in her books always have the coolest jobs, so love that. Best friends with this guy. He seems cool. He's kind of like her opposite, likes to stay home. She kind of drags him on vacations. But it is so painfully obvious that they're both in love with each other. There is no way that they would have lasted like, 12 years and nothing happened? I like you? There's no way. There's literally no way. And they go on vacations together every single year. There's no way. So that one also irritated me. Also, I can't stop looking at this. This was an accident. Please don't comment on it. So yeah, I rated that one a 2 star also. So like, nothing was hitting. Nothing was hitting. Then I decided to go ahead and start reading books that I actually wanted to read instead of targeting things. So I started filming a video for me being in a reading slump, and you'll see that later. But to start with, I read Lessons in Chemistry, which I actually put down there. I've been getting a lot of hardbacks recently. I really liked this one. This one and Tomorrow and Tomorrow and Tomorrow are always put together. Like, if you like this one, you like that one, and they were popular at the same time. I give it a 4 star. It's about a woman who is, I'm pretty sure she's a biologist. So smart. Like, reading this book made me feel smart and dumb at the same time. It also made me want to become a scientist. So yeah, but it's about her not being taken seriously. She has a kid and she gets offered this job as a personality on TV, and she does it like in her own way. She does it very sciencey, and she inspires a bunch of people, and it makes you feel good. It makes you feel good and like inspired, and you're definitely irritated most of the book because people don't take her seriously, and she's obviously so overqualified for like everything. They don't care. It's another one of those where it's literary fiction, but it's written really well. And so it's another one that's popular for a good reason. Okay, last, I read Babel, and I call it Babel and not Babel because there's parts in it where they're called babblers. Has to be Babel, right? Anyways, this is my first R.F. Kuang novel that I've read, and I really liked it. I gave this one 4 stars. This one is about mostly this boy Robin, but also his 3 friends that he meets in the Oxford Fable program, Babel, I don't know, whatever. And this was set in the 1830s, England, mostly. And it talks a lot about language and colonization and systemic racism and just like a lot of systemic oppression for like women as well. So just like very real topics, even though there is an element of realistic magic in this. This is another one of those books that makes you feel smart when you're reading it, but also simultaneously a little bit stupid. After I came away from this book though, I feel like I did learn valuable information. So I do think that it's worth a read, and it has a lot of really good topics that are thought through. It did slow down, I guess isn't really the right wording. And the middle to the end was just very discouraging. It was kind of hard to pick back up every once in a while because it just feels so incredibly hopeless. And he just wants to make a difference for people. At the end of the day, I think that this is still a book really worth reading. And I am really interested in all of her other books that she's come out with. So we'll see. I don't know which one I want to read next, but I don't know if I said this, but I gave it a 4-star. Okay, so that's all the books that I read in July. I think how many was that? Okay, 6 books in July. And I DNF'd, I have 3, but I feel like it was more than this. I feel like I DNF'd more books than that, so I might remember some later. I'm pretty sure I DNF'd Magnolia Parks in June. I read 30% of it and then just realized, oh, this is just about people. I don't want to read just about people right now. I need something a little bit more plot driven. In hindsight, and because I'm in a reading slump, so I might pick it back up. I have heard recently is a new term, POP, put on pause. So that one's put on pause until further notice. I also tried to read The Ashes and the Star-Cursed King. Very long title, yes. This is the sequel to The Serpent and the Wings of Night. I loved The Serpent and the Wings of Night when I read it. It was so fast-paced, fantasy vibes, the whole thing's going on, right? I made a Pinterest board for it, tried to get me excited about it, which it did. But then I tried to go into the sequels, and I do also think that this is a book slump thing, so keep that in mind. But I tried to read the novella, which I think is like a prequel, and then I tried to read the actual sequel. So the novella is 6 Scorched Roses. But anyways, when I went to pick both of them up, I just kept thinking about how it was almost so fast-paced that I didn't really become connected to the characters. But thinking about it now, I'm kind of more intrigued by continuing. And I didn't realize this was also connected to other books that she's written. I want more of the lore, and I feel like it's in those, and that's why there wasn't so much world building in these, and I don't know. All of that to say is I might come back to them. We don't know. We don't know. Didn't hate them. But that's all I've got for June and July. Super underwhelming, I know. But I'm happy to report I am slowly inching my way out of my reading slump. So I think August is gonna be much better. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and... Honestly, I'm probably gonna go and binge read because this is like the perfect day for it. And I just took a shower. I'm so cozy. Okay, bye.